This is the MGTOWinfinium here with another Infinium Out and About. This Infinium Out and About is entitled What Haunts You. My brothers, I'm out here in a local park which is nearby where I live, and I'm here to test some microphone equipment and some external equipment for when I do anything from B-rolls to any future out and abouts. I know that last week I was pretty much saying that I would not do any more out and abouts because of the trouble and the issues that I run into, but after some prayerful consideration of that and just thinking about it and just looking at other content creators who carry on regardless of what they encounter when they try to do live content or try to do types of content which is out in the public, that I pretty much have discarded that, and I'm just going to continue on and just find other ways to deal with what happens in the public, and find ways to do my content and get away with it, so to speak. If it has to be like a ninja type of thing, which I did at the IKEA a few weeks back, then so be it. But I am changing my mind about actually not doing any more out and about. I will continue, just find a way to do it and to get what I need to be done. But getting on to the topic, what haunts you, my brothers, a lot of times we encounter situations that tend to haunt us, and that they tend to affect us along our pathway to freedom, I would say. And I would like to give you two situations which I faced. Actually, it's three, but it's actually two situations which I faced as a young lad, and one that I faced as an adult man. The first situation was I was in junior high school, and let me preface that I was the type of geeky, nerdy kid who was always into things like meteorology, astronomy, all types of things. I was into shortwave listening when most of the kids around me were listening to the popular music at that time. But what happened to me was this. There is a show called Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, and a lot of you older MGTOWs will recognize that show because that's one of Irwin Allen's famous shows. He is the master of disaster, so to speak, but that's one of his shows, and along with Lost in Space, and I think Time Tunnel, that type of thing. But in this particular show, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, which I believe it was the initial movie that they made before they made the series, the movie had an event where the upper atmosphere of the earth caught fire, and it was on fire around the world. And the synopsis of the movie was that they had to go and fire a missile or something like that to stop the chain reaction which had happened, and basically stop the fire that was in the upper atmosphere. But my brothers, I was sitting in a science class in junior high, and it intrigued me that what this movie was portraying, could that actually happen in real life? And so I asked the science teacher, could this happen? Could the upper atmosphere catch on fire? And immediately the teacher berated me, began to laugh at me, which caused the whole classroom to basically just fall out and laughed at me. And that event actually haunted me up until my older age, so that happened. The second one was I was in high school and I was on the track team. And I was not a particularly good track runner, although I was good at cross country. And so if any of you are aware of that, a person or a athlete that is good in cross country is not necessarily good at shorter distances, like a mile or so. And what happened to me, I'll just preface, what happened to me was I was capable of running great distances. Like, for instance, I attended DeWitt Clinton High School in the Bronx, New York, and we regularly, as cross-country runners, would run out to Tibbetts Pool in Yonkers, New York. So that is from the Bronx to Yonkers, and I believe one way it is 10 miles. And so, again, we were capable of running, and I was capable of running a full distance like that with no problem. But when it came to shorter distances, like a mile or so, I had problems. And so one day I was in an event, and I was running, and I was in a 1 mile distance, and I was the last one to finish. I had one of the team members who regularly berated me to say to me as I was the last one to say that I sucked. And again, that event haunted me most of my life. But it was until I got to my adult age, and until I got to the place where I allowed the critical thought processes to take a hold of me, that I saw the proper context of what happened to me, and I saw why I should no longer, as an adult male, let those things haunt me. Now, the first case, it was a matter of that teacher not knowing how to answer me. And so the best thing that he could do was to shame me. Because, my brothers, I found out that there was a possibility of something like that happening, like what I saw in Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, something like that happening. And this is because of the atomic bombs, the nuclear bombs that they were detonating both on the land and in the atmosphere. There was a genuine concern by people like Dr. Robert Oppenheimer that a chain reaction could occur and could actually set the atmosphere on fire. They found that later on that it's less likely, but even still, there was a possibility in these scientists' minds that the upper atmosphere of this planet could be set on fire by a chain reaction caused by a nuclear detonation if it was big enough to do so. And so that was proving to me again that I may have known more about the atmosphere, the dynamics of the atmosphere, because of my just looking into meteorology, looking into how the weather works than that science teacher. And again, the best that he could do, instead of saying something like, I don't know, but I will look into it and I'll get back to you with the answer, he was embarrassed. And he actually did that to me and shamed me. When in actuality, all along, I was right. Because these scientists, again, who were into heavy-duty types of things, actually feared something like that happening. Now, the second one was when I was in high school and I was at that track event. And I was shamed, for coming in last. I had to go back and look at the context of what happened. And it was this. Was I in high school to become a track star, or was I in high school to graduate and to go on to college? And was the running of me being a track and field athlete, was that extraneous to me graduating from high school? Did it have anything to do with me graduating from high school? Was it helpful to me graduating from high school? And there I had to separate that part and look at the real goal. The goal was to graduate from high school. And my brothers, moving forward from that event to the time that I graduated, I remember walking back from, I think it was one of the houses, field houses, where DeWitt Clinton is at. And I had graduated at that point. I had finished up, and I was just there, getting my stuff and everything. And I encountered one of the athletes that had participated on the track and field team with me, and who would regularly berate me, this and that, whatever. And he began to berate me, and you suck, you're terrible, you're this and that. And something prompted me to ask him this question, and it was this: did you graduate? And it stunned him, and he admitted that he had been held back. He had to go another year, and he didn't know if he would graduate or not. And I told him, I graduated, I'm going on to college, and good day. And I left him there in silence and stunned by what had happened. My brothers, now the third incident. As you may or may not be aware of, my father had labeled me as a 50-year failure, simply because of my decision to not marry, to not have a woman in my life, to live my life as a single man. And my brothers, that can be, if that is said to a son by a father who the son feels that he loves him and this and that, whatever, but yet the father comes out and says that he's a failure, he is a disappointment, but it is because of that son's understanding that if he married, if he had a woman in his life, it would destroy him. And my brothers, again, you will have these haunting, shaming statements said to you. You will have these things said to you. But you have to understand the context of what they're said in. And you have to look at things like this. Is what that person is shaming you about Is that the true context and nature of what you should do as a man, or is it a fallacy? And if it's a fallacy, then you must determine in your mind to not let that shaming haunt you, to deter you, to keep you from living your life as free men, but to go on and do what you need to do. My brothers, again, we follow a philosophy that is freeing, that is beyond the concept and the conception of any womanist, of any type of simp, solely because it shows us that we can walk in freedom, we can walk in a way that helps us, that helps other men who are seeking their freedom. That's what I'm talking about, my brothers. To not let the shaming, the haunting type of shaming, even if it is a failure, to not let these things shame you and haunt you, but rather to allow you to go on and do what you need to do. There's a train pulling across here. I think he's doing some switching, so I'm gonna pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back, my brothers. There's a line that runs down between this park, and I don't know where the other end of it goes. I know that the other part of it goes down to interlocking where they switch trains around and everything. But getting back to what I was saying, my brothers, don't let these simps, women, even your family, my brothers, deter you from living your life as free men because of the haunting shaming that they do to you, my brothers. That's what I'm saying. Yes, we are going to have these things said to us. We're going to have terrible statements said to us by our friends, by our so-called friends, by grifters, by simps, women. We are going to have these things said to us. But my brothers, you have to determine in your heart that you will not allow those things to haunt you and to falsely search yourself introspectively, which causes you to waste time along your walk along the MGTOW path, my brothers. And my brothers, again, we have to understand, as MGTOW men, we are doing something so profound and so incomprehensible to any simp, to any women, to our families, to friends, associates who have abandoned us, who have called us crazy, and who have done that type of shaming. We are doing something so incomprehensible, but yet so simple, and that is to seek our freedom as men, to seek the freedom that we deserve, that we rightfully deserve. That's what we're doing, my brothers. That is something that the aforementioned can never understand, because they exist in a state which is called a feminist plantation state, which does not allow the people that serve it to comprehend that they can live as free people. That's what it's about. So again, my brothers, don't let these haunting statements, don't let these things perturb you, to cause you to falsely search yourself. But my brothers, use the critical thinking processes that you have as MGTOW men to accomplish what you need to do, that is your freedom, seeking after your freedom, and as well deterring any type of shaming, any type of haunting type of threat, or anything that is done to you, because you know in your mind that it is your right to be free men who are walking along a path which takes them to freedom. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium Out and About. My MGTOW brothers, as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.